With Hashem's loving grace, today's podcast is entitled The Pear Tree, and gives us an insight about the right way to serve Hashem. Well, there was once a simple villager who loved the king so much, and he wanted to bring a gift to the king, but he didn't know what to bring. He says, well, if he brings a loaf of his fresh baked black bread, coarse black bread that the villagers eat, that's not worth for the king. The king's bakers probably make him these exquisite rolls and croissants and breads. He won't like that. And he thought that if he brings some of his goat cheese, a chunk of his goat cheese to the king, well, the royal chefs will probably say that's not fit for the king, and they'll throw him right out. So he didn't know what to do. So he thought about it for a while. Suddenly an idea flashed in his head. I'm going to do something for the king that nobody else did. I'm going to take one of my pear tree seedlings, my prize seedlings, and I'll plant it in the king's backyard. And the king will have shade, the tree will grow, the king will have shade, he can sit under the shade. And when the tree blossoms, the pear blossoms, they smell so exquisite. The king will have the like perfume blossoms, and then he'll have the fruit. They'll have this wonderful, tasty pears to eat. So he took one of his prize pear tree seedlings and went in the king's backyard and planted it in the backyard. And the villager, he nurtured the tree for 4 years, and he watered the tree and he fertilized the tree and he pruned the tree, made it beautiful, like a goblet, like a silver goblet tree. Was beautiful. And he kept the pests away, and he would hoe around the tree, and every little weed that sprouted up, he'd get rid of the weed. Okay, but finally, for years, summer, winter, cold weather, hot weather, and he diligently and dedicated took care of this little the pear tree, and the pear tree grew and grew and grew. So finally, in the 5th year, the pear tree bore fruit, these beautiful, big pears. And the villager was about to make the first harvest and present the king with his pears. So the villager prepared some straw baskets that he could gather the fruit in, and he put them under the tree. And just as he was about to start picking the tree, a wind blew through the pear tree, and this great big old pear fell off right the tree and hit him right on the head, back on the head. And he saw stars. And he looked up and he says, hey, is this the reward I get for 5 years of hard work and all this thing, and then I get hit on the head? Is that fair? Meanwhile, the villager didn't know that the king was standing right behind him. And the king said, villager, do you think that anything can happen in my own backyard without me knowing about it? Do you think that I haven't seen your dedication in sun and shine and winter and summer all year long? Of course, just because you haven't seen me until now, that doesn't mean that I don't know what's going on. You see, nothing can happen in the palace, in my backyard, in the garden. Nothing can happen without me knowing about it. And everything is under my watchful eye, and especially my loyal subjects, especially the ones that show so much love and dedication for me. And the reason you haven't been rewarded until now is I'm letting all your wonderful deeds accumulate until you get a great big reward of something that you can't even imagine. That's what the king said to him. Cherished friends, do you know who that villager is? That villager is each one of us. It's you and me. Because so many times we do good deeds to make the king happy, the king of kings. But instead of getting rewarded, so it looks like we get hit on the head. Sometimes we give someone, do a favor for someone. Sometimes we do an act of charity, help a little old lady across the street. And somebody helps a little old lady across the street and sprains his ankle while he's helping a little old lady across the street. That's the pear falling on his head. And so what? Not only does he not get rewarded, he gets this is the reward I get. But you have to remember, without our knowing about it, there's the king right behind our back, right over our head. Nothing can happen in the universe. The universe is the king's backyard. That's Hashem's backyard. Nothing can happen in the universe without Hashem knowing about it. Not only that, Hashem gave us the power to do the good deeds. So let's not get frustrated when things don't go our way. When we have a difficulty in life, and even though we think we deserve otherwise, it's our loving Father in heaven. He's testing us. He's testing us how much we really love him. And we show that despite the difficulties, we keep on bringing good in the world, keep on doing those good deeds. Then what happens is that we accumulate rewards that will only be paid for us in the next world. But meanwhile, we'll eat the fruit in this world and the next world, because Hashem, he doesn't remain beholding. He doesn't owe anything to anyone. And if someone does something, shows love for Hashem, Hashem gives it back untold. So never be disappointed, and don't look at the bad that happens. Think about all the good you're accumulating, and continue to do those acts of loving kindness, acts of good, because the King sees everything. And not only that, not only for the good, and don't do it for the reward, do it for the knowledge that your good deeds give indescribable gratification to the King. And amongst the other things, you know what you're going to get? Hashem's help. We'll get Mashiach and our rebuilt holy temple, speeding our days. Amen. God bless everything you do.